When I first started teaching here, right?
Yes.
My very first year. So
3 years ago, basically.
I was really terrible back then, so all the flaws that I had were reflected onto them somehow. But
sure you've
they still
gotten better.
there. Yeah, I did get better. I'm getting better every year. Okay, so go ahead.
So that's kind of the same thing what we're doing. I'm not really going to go into PowerPoint or anything like that either. I'll just tell you a little bit about what we did. My business was FoodInRoot, and we were essentially an online farmers market. So we kind of came up with that idea by identifying certain word problem in the current industry with farmers markets, and most of that being it's kind of an archaic model. It could be improved with technology. So, for example, I was already kind of a regular customer at local farmers markets in Tucson. I lived in Oregon, they're way bigger. I'm sure many of you, if you come from other parts of the country, are very familiar with them as well. And one of the main problems that we constantly saw was being able to get the products that you want. So, matching supply with the time of arrival. So it could be impacted by a number of things, whether, if you don't get to the market early enough, the local produce that you're looking for might already be gone. That vendor might not be there for a particular reason, and you wouldn't know that until you get there. I mean, they could have had a flat tire, they could have just been on a family emergency vacation and whatnot. But if the market's like a long way away and you travel a whole bunch, you kind of get discouraged sometimes when you're missing out what you go to get, just like going to the store and it being out of what you're looking for. And then you would have to wait a week in order to get the next thing. So we kind of thought if we could incorporate a lot of that information and utilize technology, the instant notification about availability of social media and just the internet in general, to kind of take that information out of the hands of the people that know it, market coordinators and the vendors themselves, and get it to the customers that want to know. So we wrote our business plan with that kind of whimsical idea of an online farmers market. I know it's still working on that, and when we developed our business plan in McGuire, well, we spent a lot of time just going over the processes that we were directed with by the eShip program. So, write the problem, solution, opportunity, challenges, so on and so forth. Do a lot of research, figure things out, see if it sticks. And so a lot of time in the library, I'll see that kind of stuff. I personally don't really recall a lot of that because it didn't have a lot of meaning for us when we were writing the actual business plan. What we kind of did differently, I think, from a lot of teams, at least that first year, is we spent a lot of time in the field. We met at least at one farmer's market every week. It was usually the Sunday one. It's at St. Philip's Plaza, the biggest one in town. It's at River and Campbell, if you want to check it out. And we met with the market coordinator there, and we would interview vendors and the market coordinator kind of about our idea. And on a week-to-week basis, once we would check back in with Emery on Fridays, we'd take our new questions and kind of pepper the brains of some of those people in the industry. And that's one of the biggest things I can really advise that was successful for us, at least developing our plan, was the research. Because even though we had all held jobs, like my partner who's still with the team, there's only 2 of us launched it. He's a chef and that used locally sourced food, so you know all about how food purveyors would purvey directly to restaurants and that kind of stuff. And I've worked in event planning for years before that, but still, it was like we didn't know anything, and every week we were just reminded more and more how much there is to know. And so yeah, research was a big part of that. So the business plan post McGuire was pretty much scrapped. There's hardly anything we still use of it other than the fact that we still have a way to improve farmers markets. And it's really kind of, it's evolved, and I think that's really important. That's what you have to do as any entrepreneurial business. I'm sure they've talked about in your world a lot with entrepreneurs. You've got to be agile in a rapidly changing marketplace. It only gets more and more rapidly changing as we go on. Of course, as you know, technology and a lot of other things change. So you kind of change or die. I mean, really. We've been pretty resilient. Still 2 years out. We haven't died. We're actually profitable, so that's pretty good. However, we believe we're on the precipice. I guess that's a negative connotation. We're on the verge of our big breakthrough, really. And what we're doing is we've created farmers markets and kind of developed a new way and a recipe, like a blueprint for farmers markets. that we think ultimately will be able not only to create a lot in the marketplace like we've done here in Tucson, but to be able to sell that recipe to other universities, hospitals, places like that around the country where farmers markets would be needed. I mean, there's a big overlap in the wellness and health industry as far as what a hospital is supposed to be about, preventing sickness and promoting health. And food is, as we all know, kind of should know, it is your basic medicine, as Hippocrates has said, of food and medicine. So that's kind of what we're doing now. If I knew when, what I knew and how, I would have spent even more time working in the field, to be honest. I would advise, if possible, to get jobs or internships or anything along that line to get your feet on the street. I mean, really.
In the industry.
In the industry that you want to do, because if you're serious about it. And I know some of you, it's just really about learning about the leadership program and taking that and doing careers and things like that. And everyone has a different destination on the path that they're going to follow. But John and I knew a lot the whole time, and we met like a year before the leadership program, so it's been close to 4 years that this was always our passion. We were always really into food, and we have a roadmap that's far beyond just the farmers market. And yeah, getting industry experience, building a network is critical, especially if you plan to keep it in a town like Tucson where you want to scale out. Because if you just want to kind of go out there into the big world in a city where no one knows your name and no one really cares that you're a college graduate or anything like that, because I mean honestly they really don't. You gotta be able to have some kind of advantages and credentials, and a network is usually one of the best things that you can do. And you have the opportunity to tap into not only your own network that you can create in Tucson right now while you're here, if this is where you'll be at any point after school or going out to somewhere else, but also the network of Emory and the other mentors and any of their friends, and I'm sure other people that they'll bring in throughout the year. There's going to be plenty of people for you to connect with, so I encourage you to do that. We did that a little bit for what we were doing for our industry, and it's honestly, I think, the only reason why we're around where we are. We've demonstrated our passion and resilience throughout that, and people have given us chances where I would think they normally would have not, and we let our work do the rest after that. So,
Could you tell me a little bit about the markets that you now have working on?
Yeah, so when I graduated, I mentioned we were doing a lot of research at the farmers markets here in town. The particular one, Tucson Farmers Markets, it was called at the time, owned 3, and St. Philip's being the largest one in the Tucson area. It is still during the season, 75 vendors, so a lot of different things there. Almost all exclusively local, produce, food, it's all food related. And Manish, the owner or executive director of that organization, was really interested in kind of our entrepreneurial spirit, I would say, and hired me to be a coordinator, so I spent 9 months consulting with him basically while I was in the program, and he hired me as a coordinator so that I could learn the insider info that one could only get by being in the industry. So I was really quite blessed by that, but again, it's like I do feel I built that opportunity for myself. I created it. And I spent about 18 months working for him. I got to know all the vendors and all the players and all the competition, not only in the Tucson area, but the entire state. I mean, literally, I've been to a lot of farms, and I've seen things that I never would have known. You could never know by just reading books or talking to people or looking at YouTube videos or whatever it is. You just have to be out there in the field. And did that work? I mean, a full-time job, and it was more than full-time, it was a salary position, but I was fortunate to be a market coordinator, and the way I look at it, it was being paid to just continue my education, and I did that for 18 months. Manish knew going into our agreement that we were going to take what we learned and kind of move forward and things like that, and then I did that and started some markets of my own, and a couple things that I thought, there were many, many things that I thought the industry that they did really well, but again, like all entrepreneurs, we always kind of look at what's right, but what can be tweaked. So it's taking that continuity of that good momentum of their working recipe, but applying your own individuality to make true success, I feel, and that's your own personal brand. And just to keep it short, like a couple things that we thought was, rather than the whole build it and they will come sort of thing, which you can do. You can pick a place and spend a lot of money as advertising and take a long time to get the word out. People show up, and it can take years. St. Philip's has been around for 12 years, and for about 8 years it was a dud. So you can do it that way. Or what we thought is going, since vendors already move and the food already travels and things like that, taking these kind of people that are desperate for those same opportunities of finding their customers, but go into where the customers already are. So a large kind of captive audience, if you will, of people that have a strong overlap in those same values of what a farmer's market brings. So we piloted that idea in a couple different snowbird resorts in the Tucson area, the Rincon Country RV resorts. Each one's about 1,500 or so residents during the season, the other one's like 3,000 to 4,000. And we had mini markets there of like 10, 15 vendors. And it was a huge success. I mean, the people were right there and walked from their home to it. And then we also did basic marketing like sign, campaign, and flyers, and free newspaper advertising for the local newspapers to bring in people from the outside public. Worked really great. We took that next step after the season closed. So the snowbirds all leave at the end of March, and we opened one at UMC Hospital, just right here at the College of Medicine patio in late April. And again, I mean, it's a hospital. Health and wellness should and really should be their primary mission, aside from making money like any business.
Why are you looking at me?
So there was a lot of overlap there. And yeah, I mean, it worked great. We tapped into some networks that actually Emory was able to play a role in, so he, the tuition paid for itself by, I think, getting us into our network there. And no, but really, it was a great opportunity, and he was able to open some doors for us. So again, your mentors are going to be able to do that. And we were able to create a farmers market at UMC, riding off the kind of the momentum and credentials and experience we already built for ourselves at these pilot markets. So we had we had like a Rolodex of contacts from when I worked there. We had a lot of great vendors that saw what we did and did good markets, and they believed in us and what we stood for, and knew that we were going to, whatever opportunity we were going to engage was probably going to be a good one. So we were able to bring that all to the plate, in addition to kind of stepping up our own game, and created a great market there that endured the summer, which if you're not a resident of Tucson or haven't been for a long time, is by far the very difficult time to run a business, and for many reasons. And we were able to actually grow the momentum through the summer, and beginning this week, actually tomorrow, that market will be going weekly. It was bi-weekly, to just trying to make sure it was okay and have enough foot traffic, but it grew every week. And the demand saw that it will be going weekly. It's Fridays from 10 to 2, College of Medicine patio. So if any Friday this year you ever feel like checking out a farmer's market, it's probably one that's pretty close to a lot of you, feel free to do that. And I'm sure
you're also looking for some interns?
Yeah, I'm sure you'll see that it will grow. And so that is kind of, that leads me into the other thing. We are really on the cusp of a whole bunch of new opportunities for us, kind of pushing the envelope. We've got already 2 new lease agreements for new markets that are coming up this fall, like in October, November area, in addition to returning the Rincon one, so that'll put us at least at 5 markets a week at a minimum. And we're looking for more help on 2 sides of the fold. I'm sure I'm going to send out that email. I know I got a couple responses from a couple people in here, so again, feel free to talk to me later on more about that, or stop by the market or anything like that. But we're looking for a farmers market coordinator, so if you want to learn really small business kind of at its core, and there are a lot of skills that translate from that into any job or any business that you do. I really can't speak enough about how much knowledge and experience you can gain. You're fundamentally a manager, but you're not only just managing your own business, you're managing other people's business, because every other vendor is really a small business. So these small businesses depend on you. You do a lot of marketing, like as far as bringing in the customers, so it's customer relations. You spend a lot of time talking to people. I mean, for me, it's like I've just gotten more and more comfortable and just better at learning how to answer questions from all ends, I mean, really all kinds of people, and not just kind of the whole, which are, academia's got its nice little bubble, and it prepares you for certain things, but it's nothing like getting out there on the street with something like a farmer's market where anyone and everyone shows up to. I mean, at the UMC one, we've got the doctors, and there's patients, and faculty, and staff, and even students. Also, like everyone kind of shows up, and so there's people in all sorts of walks of life and different occupations and everything. And being able to you know, them to look to you for certain things has its rewards, and that experience definitely would serve you in whatever it is that you may end up doing. So, you know, feel free to reach out to me, talk to me after class or whenever is a good
Actually,
time.
I have a question for you. If we take a 15-minute break now and anybody wants to ask questions to you, they can ask you questions.
Yeah,
Would you
absolutely.
be able to go to the grad class at 5:15 till 5:30?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
that will work.
Okay.
But yeah, unless there's any other questions right now from the general class, otherwise